Zuna sparkled. The Fish won 3 of 4 from the Giants. Now it's back to the MIA, and the Kid takes the mound and faces the Twins. And this time, it's not 33 degrees.
Yeah, it's not 33 degrees. That's when the Marlins and the Twins were in April in Minneapolis. That was a 2-game series which was split. This is a 2-game series as the Marlins and the Twins get ready to go from Marlins Park. Harbor One, Rich Waltz, along with Tommy Hutton, Juan Pierre, Ed Lucas, Logan Morrison, Marcell Ozuna. And I am here. Much better to look at than you and me. All right, let's talk about this. Whether it's optimism, whether it's momentum, whatever word you want to use, there is a different feeling around the ball club as they start this series than the last homestand.
You know, Rich, I think optimism, I think momentum, and I think some all-around good baseball is the reason the Marlins played well on this road trip, especially so in San Francisco.
Okay, the numbers on the trip for the Fish going on the road. Now, that Arizona series is deceiving. You look at how tight the ball games were, and, of course, a terrific stop in San Francisco.
Yeah, in Arizona, the Marlins had a chance to win all 3 of those games. In San Francisco, I look at it this way. The big difference, some offense and also some young pitching. Kohler, Turner, Eovaldi, and how about Marcell Ozuna in San Francisco? Hit over 400 and had 6 RBIs alone in that series.
Let's talk pitching in this one. It's a rematch from the day game in that day-night frozen doubleheader. It's our Coventry Healthcare matchup, starting with Jose Fernandez.
I feel like we should be talking like John Facenda in the frozen tundra at Target Field, but Jose Fernandez gave up a home run to Arcia. He wasn't as sharp as we've seen him. I think some of that had to do certainly with the weather, but sharp he's been in June. A 1.65 ERA this month.
Okay. On the other side, Kevin Correa pitched that day as well and pitched well.
A guy that the Marlins have seen over the years. He pitched a number of years with the Pirates. He's not overpowering, but he's pitched well. But he's pitched very well at home, not so good on the road.
Okay. He's on the road, that's for sure. Marlins Park is open for business. The Marlins have the Twins for 2 and then the Padres for 4 on this homestand. Derek Dietrich, multi-talented, and he's in the lineup at second, and he's with Allison Williams on an email Twitter Tuesday.
Hart, let's start things with Allison Williams. Hey, Dub?
Thank you guys very much. Here with Derek Dietrich. And Derek, coming off a very successful road trip where you took 3 of 4 against San Francisco. What's the key to keeping the winning going here at home?
Just playing hard and having fun. This team is really gelled. We got all our guys back. We're having a lot of fun. We're playing hard and putting runs across, pitching well, playing good D. And if we keep that up, we're going to have a successful season. And it started this road trip, keep the momentum going. So we're just having a lot of fun now.
For you personally, the last few weeks have been some struggles. What have you been trying to focus on at the plate?
Just trying to be consistent. I got to get back to just being consistently ready each and every pitch. Just making the adjustments. That's what this game is about. I'm still young and I had to make those adjustments, those growing pains. But I'm happy to get in that lineup today and hopefully get it going back in the right direction.
Derek, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck, guys. Back to you.
Always nice to have a player right before first pitch, and we are right before first pitch. Marlins poised on the top step, ready to take the field. Glad you're with us tonight. The Twins are here, and it's a lot warmer than when last we saw them. The Fish, the Twins. Game 1 of a brief 2-game set is next. Back at home, one of the best pitchers in baseball in the month of June, Jose Fernandez takes the hill, takes the ball, gets ready to face the Minnesota Twins tonight in Miami. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton and the Twins. Minnie and Paul bring you the lineup. Cleet Thomas is in center field. He was not with the ball club when the Fish saw him in April. Brian Dozier at second base. Joe Mauer, now you get into the power part. Josh Willingham in the cleanup spot. Justin Morneau at first. Osvaldo Arcia is in right field. Trevor Plouffe is at third base. Pedro Florimon is at shortstop. And Kevin Correa will do the pitching. And there is Cleet Thomas, left-handed bat, getting ready to go. And Jose Fernandez set to make start number 15. His ERA is shrunk down 3.05 thanks to a brilliant June.
Yeah, just a tremendous month of June, an ERA at 165 in the month. In the game against the Twins up in Minneapolis, 5 innings, Jose gave up 6 hits and 4 runs. Oswaldo Arcia took him deep, his first Major League home run, actually, for Arcia, but not quite the command that we've seen him all of a sudden put together consistent start after consistent start.
And so he's ready to go. The Twins have actually had a very nice off day. They arrived on Sunday night. An off day yesterday. In fact, they may have gone to the parade yesterday. And here they are to face the Fish. Pinch a Penny brings you the first pitch. That's Jose Fernandez against Clete Thomas. And Thomas takes outside. It was Aaron Hicks who was in center field when the Marlins saw the Twins, but Thomas has been called up. Obviously, he's never faced the Fish. The Fish have never seen him.
Yeah, right now Hicks on the disabled list with a hamstring pull, but just about getting ready to start some rehab games, and they hope to have him back soon.
Clete Thomas is a Florida guy. And he takes out. And the count is 2-1. Went to Auburn University, did Clete Thomas. Born in Jacksonville, lives in Tampa. And he swings and misses. Mosley High School in Lynn Haven, Florida. That's the home of 28-year-old Clete Thomas. 20-year-old Jose Fernandez with a 2-2 count. And he misses away. Fernandez missed the Giants his last start against Trevor Cahill, and he filed 7 1/3 innings in with 3 hits and 2 runs. Both of those runs actually came on the home run by Cody Ross. Remember, Ross homered against Mike Dunn. Fernandez had just left the ball game. At the time, it was a scoreless ball game. Marlins ended up getting a run late and lost that game 3-1 to the Diamondbacks. 3-2 coming. Clete Thomas doing a nice job in the leadoff role, seeing a lot of pitches so far.
Yeah, he's doing a job that you like to see a leadoff guy. Everybody on that bench, all the hitters are checking out the Jose Fernandez stuff. We've talked about Jose, what he's done in the month of June. How about at home this year in 6 starts? 2-0, a 1.75 ERA.
Ball in the air. In comes Stanton. Out goes Dietrich. And it's Stanton who makes the catch. Marlins defensively slowly improving as the year goes by. It's brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
Everybody adjusting to a little jet lag, but after the off day, ready to go. JP, Ozuna, and Stanton in that outfield. Ed Lucas starts tonight at third. Echeverria has been spectacular. Dietrich and Lomo on the right side, and Rob Brantley handling Jose Fernandez. I think if you look back the last 5 starts for Jose, 2 of those games, Brantley's handled him. The other 3, Mathis has handled him.
Miami has moved up to 7th in the National League in fielding. Started the season the first couple months down near the basement. That's Dietrich, and he handles it. Couple of pop outs, and it's an Email Twitter Tuesday. So if you want to do the email thing or the Twitter thing, now's the time. To get to us, go to Game Connect, foxsportsflorida.com first, Game Connect, and on Game Connect, ask the broadcasters. There you go. Or on Twitter, at Fox Marlins. Mauer takes outside. Everybody knows Joe Mauer. Head and shoulders.
Yeah, .330 batting average.
Batting titles. Lots of doubles. 24 doubles to go with 8 home runs for Mauer.
His career average, and he's in his 10th year, his career average is .323.
Of course, the doubles leader is a Miami guy in the American League, and that's Manny Machado. Manny Machado, 34 doubles. Boy, that was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that Mauer swung and missed. High heat from Fernandez. See where pitch number 3 was. Rand Eye Institute bringing you the Fox track. Broken bat, little liner to Lucas, who makes the catch, and the kid looks good. Jose Fernandez goes 1-2-3. Sports Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability 1-800-PICK-AT&T. Rethink possible. By Just for Men Auto Stop, the foolproof way to get rid of gray. And by Checkers. Feast on. Marlins at home, facing the Twins, facing Kevin Correa. And the San Diego native, who has started an awful lot against the Fish in his career.
How about 16 games and 9 career starts?
There you go. Gets a look at Juan Pierre, Ed Lucas, and Giancarlo Stanton. Correa has been probably the Twins' most consistent starter this year. And a breaking ball misses outside to Pierre. Pierre had a rough road trip and a rough series in San Francisco. He was 0 for 10 there, and he'd like to get back to that nice run that he had with the hit streak. It pumped his average up closer to 250. He's just dipped below it at 246. He was 2 for 18 on the trip. Gets jammed and pulls it wide of first and Morneau.
Now, oddly enough, Kevin Correa, when he beat Jose Fernandez 4-3 in Minneapolis, he went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, a couple of runs. The odd part about that, the 2 of the hits and the 2 RBIs were from Joe Mahoney.
Things have changed. The Marlins have Logan Morrison at first. They've got Giancarlo Stanton. Now, Stanton did play in Minneapolis. In fact, well, we think it was Stanton. He was wearing a mask.
Dietrich wasn't there. Ozuna wasn't there.
Stanton and many of his teammates had the ski cap masks on for that nightcap. Pierre fouls it off, and JP with a nice long at bat against Correa to start the first. Lucas and Stanton are waiting. The Marlins coming off a terrific series in San Francisco. And Pierre fouls it back. A series that saw the Marlins take 3 of 4 from the Giants. Saw the Marlins play long ball in a ballpark that doesn't give up many home runs. The Fish hit 3 homers on Sunday. Justin Ruggiano a couple, and Marcell Ozuna homering as well. And Pierre walks. Kevin Correa had walked just one in his last 3 starts, so that's a significant appearance. Juan Pierre, Ed Lucas, Giancarlo Stanton, Logan Morrison, Marcell Ozuna, Rob Brantley, Adeiny Hechavarria, Derek Dietrich, and Jose Fernandez. That's the starting 9 for a former Twin, Mike Redmond. And here comes Ed Lucas.
Boy, good combo here with Lucas hitting in the number 2 spot. Juan Pierre at first base.
Pierre bluffs, Lucas takes in. It is an email and Twitter Tuesday. When we have the appropriate moment, we'll throw out the very first tweet or email. Here's a 1-0. Liner into right center field, and it's sliding catch there and right by Arcia. The throw to first is not in time. Pierre gets back. Osvaldo Arcia, remember, had the 3-run homer in the win over Jose Fernandez and the Fish. And here he opens the ball game with a terrific catch.
Boy, this ball hung up just enough and allowed Arcia to get over, cup that ball in the webbing of his glove, and hang on after he made the catch. Good job by Lucas to try to go the other way. JP, he gets almost to second base, thinking it's going to drop, and then hurries back to first.
Now here is Stanton. And Correa steps off. All right, here it is. Here's the first tweet of the night. It's from John Hechavarria. I don't think he's any relation to Adeiny. How would you rate Mike Redmond so far? John feels he should play more small ball.
There are times that I would think that. A lot of it, though, is that we don't know everything Red knows about his ball club. And a lot of times when you have guys in situations where you think, okay, let's play a little small ball, you might not have the right ingredients.
Pierre's running. Stanton takes the throw down to second, and Pierre is out. Dozier with the tag. Joe Mauer guns out Juan Pierre. And an appropriate time to introduce you to the rest of the defense, brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
Well, you know the guy in left, Josh Willingham, Clete Thomas, Osvaldo Arcia, you know him already, too. Trevor Plouffe, Pedro Florimon, Brian Dozier, Justin Morneau, Joe Mauer, the rest of that defense.
So Stan is still out there. The Twins have made 2 nice defensive plays, the Arcia catch and the Mauer throw. And what looked like a promising inning is down to a 3-0 pitch coming to Stanton.
The Twins, by the way, over the years have always been a pretty solid defensive ball club. They're in the top 5 in the American League now as far as defense.
Stanton cuts on a 3-1 pitch and fouls it off his foot.
Gardenhire, his 12th year. Just a couple of managers over the last 20 years between Gardenhire and Tom Kelly.
And of course, Gardenhire cut of the same cloth as the man they called TK. Let's see if Stanton gets something straight on 3-2. He certainly didn't on 3-0. He did, and he drills it right field and deep. That ball is off the wall. Stanton around first, and he'll hold with a long double.
Well, when he hits a ball that way, you automatically think it's going out. He hits the ball as hard as anybody I've seen to the opposite field. He got a pitch out over the plate. I think initially Correa thought it was a home run by his reaction.
Here's the reaction of Giancarlo.
And almost another spectacular play by the right fielder, Oswaldo Arcia.
So the Marlins have done a lot of things right here in this inning. They drew a leadoff walk. Lucas drilled one in the gap. Stanton has banged one off the wall, and yet they don't have a run. And here's Morrison, and he breaks his bat in about 3 or 4 pieces. And the count's 0-1. That is a point of pride for a pitcher when a hitter is left with just a piece of his bat in his hands. Watch this. See how far up the handle that pitch went?
Yeah, pitchers love that. They hate it when they do that and the guy drops a base hit in there, though.
And you could see Mauer flinch when he heard the bat shatter.
Logan Morrison playing in his 11th game. Looking good running. We saw him a couple of times run the bases well in San Francisco.
Morrison takes out. Correa is the type of guy that you have to be patient, and yet when you get the opportunity, jump on a pitch. As we noted, he'd walked just 1 in 3 starts. But he, in every sense of the word, is a pitcher. He will not overpower you. He'll try to pick at the corners and get you to chase.
The area where the Twins have had their struggles has been starting pitching. Starting pitchers for the Twins this year, an ERA of 5.83.
Which is in stark contrast to their bullpen, which is one of the very best in the American League. If they could just get the game to the bullpen. And that's kind of been the problem for the Twins the last few years, Tommy, is that starting rotation.
They signed Mike Pelfrey over the offseason. He's on the disabled list now.
Stanton away from second, 2-1 to Morrison. Little check swing, rolled foul. They did call up, the Twins did, one of their top prospects in Kyle Gibson. Called them up from AAA Rochester, and he is scheduled to start for the Twins on Saturday at Target Field against Kansas City. Baseball America had him as the 4th best prospect for the Twins. 2-2 coming. Correa to Morrison. And that's out.
Marlins hitters have seen a lot of pitches. Juan Pierre had a good AB. Correa over 20 pitches now.
Marcell Ozuna's on deck. (3-2). And he got him. Morrison strikes out. Correa stayed off the plate and got the strikeout. Scoreless here. Mission. And it's brought to you by H.H. Gray. And in Miami, in high definition, and this must be fun for Josh Willingham, the Hammer is here. So many great memories as a Marlin. And to step into Marlins Park. Hammer's nicked up a little bit right now, but he's in there with 10 homers, driven in 34. He was 0 for 3 in that series up in Minneapolis. High pop-up, Echeverria out, Pierre's coming in, and it's Pierre who takes it. A lot of balls in the air, 4 of them for Fernandez. Tomorrow's camp day, kids. Tomorrow against the Twins at 12:40, and you can take advantage of the Chevron Crazy 8s offer. Get an $8 home run porch ticket or an $18 home plate box ticket with your receipt of 8 gallons of gas. Visit your local Chevron station for more information. All right, here is Morneau, and Tommy talked about having a pair of MVPs. Fastball for a strike. And Morneau, an MVP back in 06. Just 3 home runs out of Morneau. He does have 18 doubles, and he has driven in 42 runs. So maybe not the home runs that you're looking for out of this Canadian bopper, but in terms of run production, he's been able to drive in 42.
Well, I tell you what, before he suffered that concussion in 2011, he had a 4-year stretch. He runs and 118 RBIs.
Popped out of play, it's 1-2. Robert out of Seattle with an email. The 1-2 to Morneau. Drives it, left center field. Pierre is there, and it involves Juan Pierre. He makes the catch. Robert wants to know, Tommy Hutton, Justin Ruggiano leads the team in homers. RBI is second in WAR and is slugging .421. Why is he not getting starts instead of Juan Pierre?
Send that email to Mike Redmond.
Well, he did over the weekend.
You know what? He's become a player, and I think you spot a guy. We've talked about how managers get guys in the right spots so they can succeed. And I think we've seen when there have been periods of time where Ruggiano's played 6, 7, 8 games in a row, you see some poor bats, and all of a sudden you don't see what you see when you get him out there 3 or 4 times a week.
And he does have a little bit of a shoulder thing that Mike Redmond talked about.
So there's some little banged up things around.
And you got a lefty going tomorrow.
He'll be in there tomorrow.
He'll be in there tomorrow. So tonight a chance to give him 2 days to rest that shoulder.
So the lefty Scott Diamond will be in there. That's what probably has gone through Mike Redmond's mind. 5 years, Red, a player with the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, he was sort of a mentor for Joe Mauer. And in those 5 years, Red hit .297. His caught stealing percentage from behind the plate, a healthy 38%. Helped the Twins get to a couple of postseasons. 4 of his 5 years, the Twins had winning seasons. And Robert in Seattle, here's this. Oswaldo Arcia with a home run.
Yeah, that was his home run off Jose Fernandez, and that was his first Major League home run.
Three and 2. Trevor Plouffe waits on deck.
I'd like to see Trevor Plouffe face Eric Plunk.
Dietrich has to go a long ways to get it, and it pops out of his glove. And Oswaldo Arcia is aboard.
Well, we've seen Derek Dietrich make play after play, especially going to his left. This one a little more routine than a lot of the ones he's made. Took a nice high hop to him. I would imagine he'll be charged with an error. If he catches that ball, he has plenty of time to get Arcia.
He had to reach but not fully extend on it.
Yeah, they put up base hit. But I think that's a play he's going to say he has to have. We've seen him make.
So it's Plouffe with 2 outs. And Arcia at first. Twins come in at 34 and 38. Twins beat the Indians on Sunday afternoon 5-3. They dropped 2 of 3 in Cleveland. They had just swept the White Sox in a series. The Twins have played already 17 interleague games. And they are 8-9.
Right now, it looks like Jose Fernandez is trying to get a feel. He doesn't have that good rhythm going for him right now. His fastball's kind of hovered in that 94 range.
Pedro Florimon is on deck. And Fernandez walks Plouffe. So Florimon comes on. Chuck Hernandez, Miami's pitching coach, watching. Marianne in Fort Lauderdale wants to know, how's Jack? That's the latest we've heard on Jack McKeon.
Well, the other day, the latest we heard is he's just recovering, getting better and better, and doing well.
A strike. That pitch really darted not only for the hitter, but Rob Brantley almost didn't get to that ball.
The way Brantley catches this ball, which really took off inside, a lot of times you don't get that call from the umpire.
Florimon fouls it back. There's the Fox tracks, which shows it was clearly a strike. Dan Bellino, the home plate umpire, may be telling Brantley, look, kid, keep the glove a little stiller. Don't make me look bad. Because as you pointed out, from the Minnesota dugout, they see a catcher reach that far. They think it's inside. There's the 0-2. Elevates at 95. And it's high. Alec in Miramar. This question, no question. Just want to give a shout out to my dad, Rick. Tonight is his first game working on the grounds crew in the new ballpark.
Ah, good.
Dad, the beard looks good.
So does the field.
There's the breaking ball, and it comes in beautifully. Florimon is caught looking, and Fernandez leaves a pair here in the second. Twins Marlins interleague play in the bottom of the second. Let's check in with our social media Contessa, Allison Williams.
Hey there, Rich. It was a long trip back for the Marlins from San Francisco, a late flight. They didn't get in until about 3 o'clock in the morning, so you know most of the guys with their off day wanted to sleep in. Well, that's going to be a little difficult if you're AJ Ramos and live right downtown Miami. Take a look at his view and his tweet way too early after a West Coast road trip to be dealing with this, LOL. Throngs of people out for the Miami Heat parade. And Steve Cishek, how did he spend his off day? Well, of course, watching his beloved Boston Bruins along with some deep-fried Oreos by JMD 2022 and Stanley Cup Finals. Great off day, said Cishek. Unfortunately for Shrek, the day did not go as he would have liked, with the Bruins losing in Game 6 to the Chicago Blackhawks, who take home the Stanley Cup. It was a heartbreaker, scored 2 goals in the final minute and 16, so he was not happy with the result, but able to watch the game, which he certainly enjoyed with the off day. And so for a lot of the guys, just spent some time relaxing after a long West Coast trip.
I think all of us were in that situation after a late takeoff in San Francisco and an early morning landing here in Miami. Here's Marcell Ozuna, who certainly enjoyed San Francisco, especially the 8th inning in San Francisco.
Well, I tell you, he had a ball, and I think we saw him make adjustments, because he had a little period where he didn't swing the bat real well.
Broken bat and a roller that's kicked by Florimon. That's a lot of things coming at you at once if you're Florimon. It's the business end of the bat and a chopper.
Well, the other thing, too, when a ball is hit this way, the business end going up toward third, but you know that Florimon saw it. The other thing, when you hit a ball this way, it's got some funny spin. And as he tried to pick that hop, it just kind of spun away from him, and he's going to be charged with an error.
When you add to the fact that Ozuna gets down the line pretty well. Florimon, known as a good glove man, now with his 8th error of the season. So Miami's got a runner aboard. Brantley and Echeverria are coming up. Mark tweets out, are the Marlins playing more interleague games, or are they just scheduled differently? And what's the goal behind the change? The answer to that is yes, they are playing more. Yes, they are scheduled differently. And the goal is, well, a little more uniform in terms of scheduling, and liner up the middle into center field, a base hit. Brantley smacks one to center. Ozuna stops at second. And Miami's got first and second here in the second with nobody out.
Well, if you're keeping track, the Marlins have this 2-game series. They've got a 3-game series against the Indians here at Marlins Park. They have a 3-game series in Kansas City. And the season ends on a weekend, a 3-game series right here against the Detroit Tigers.
And Mark, what necessitated the change, and it's across baseball, 20 interleague games apiece. What necessitated the change was the Houston Astros going from the National League to the American League, thus putting 15 teams in each league. So you had to have at least one interleague game going a night where you have a regular slate of games. So that changed the whole landscape of interleague baseball. As Tommy pointed out, the Marlins actually end the season against the Tigers. There were times when the American League West had 4 teams, the National League Central had 6, that interleague schedules were far from equal for teams across the board. Echeverria takes down low, and it's 2-0. As we pointed out, the Twins have played 17 interleague games, which is interesting because after this 2-game series, they will have played 19. I think they have a game against the Mets, don't they? That the Mets have to go back to Minnesota to make up a snow day.
Well, and some of the early season weather caused some havoc, too.
Chopper, Florimon, a flip, Dozier's turn, got him. Echeverria is out, and the Twins turn 2, and Echeverria bounces into another double play. That's the 12th that he has bounced into, and that leads the team.
And we've talked about that before. It's not because he doesn't run well. A lot of it is pitch selection, what he swings at. And that time Correa got him to hit his pitch and got that 6-4-3 double play. Tonight's a night too, Rich, where there are a number of interleague games. Some nights we just see one, maybe two, but the Mets are in Chicago playing the White Sox. The Braves are in Kansas City. The Rockies are in Boston tonight. Yeah, the Mets have that game on August 19th. They've got to go back to the Twin Cities for one game.
Marlins got into Minneapolis, I believe it was like a week after the Mets were in there. Had snow, but were able to play two in that day-night doubleheader after getting snowed out the first night.
Yeah, and the oddity is that it was actually a few degrees warmer the night game than the day game.
If you're Dietrich, you know Fernandez is on deck, and you know Correa is such a professional pitcher that he's being real cautious with you. And Dietrich hits a liner to short. Florimon snares it, and the Marlins leave a runner. Opportunity so far, but no runs for the Fish. The Heat and our AT&T Uverse Twitter poll. Can they win 3 in a row? Yes. Hashtag 3 Kings again. No. Hashtag 3 Kings no. That was a close call there. Overpass LeBron James. That would have been a hashtag no, I suspect. Tommy, the Fox Sports girls were in the parade. Did you see that? I can't believe you did not get an invite and the Fox Sports girls did.
Yeah, well, they're in the building tonight, too. Fox Sports girls.
Kevin Correa's up there.
I've been checking their tweets.
Oh, you haven't. Don't give me that. Here's the 0-1. Fouled off the arm of Dan Bellino, the home plate umpire. Clete Thomas and Brian Dozier. There is a social media suite at the ballpark. The Marlins are hosting. And I think the release said, I think I am accurate in quoting, some of the most influential bloggers in the area. They're here tonight, Tommy, so we might want to go down there and buy him a drink.
Always nice to be on the right side of the influential bloggers. Correa, because of his time in the National League, a number of years with Pittsburgh, he has 32 career hits. So he's not too much of a stranger up there with the bat.
I have a great tweet. This is a tweet of the day so far. It's from Ralph. Hey, Tommy, you think the Marlins should pick up Carlos Marmol?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a celebration at home before I came down to the ballpark when I heard that Marmol had been designated by the Cubs, who also designated Ian Stewart as well. But they finally had enough. I think.
All your emails and tweets, we'll try to get to as many as we can tonight. Marlins and Twins, first of 2 on an email Twitter Tuesday. And a Jose Fernandez start. Fernandez a walk and a strikeout. And Correa fouls one back. Twins pitchers are 0 for 8 at the plate this season and 1 for 27 in the last 2 seasons. The only hit, a Scott Diamond single last year. And that would be strike 3 on Kevin Correa. Speaking of last year, did you know, Tommy Hutton, the Marlins had a winning road trip? You knew that. The last winning road trip the Marlins had, you have to go all the way back to early June of last year when they had a brief 3-game series as a road trip in Philly and won 2 of 3.
There have been some good things that have happened. I saw another note. The Marlins right now are on a stretch, 8 consecutive games where they've allowed 3 runs or less. So obviously we've talked about the pitching, the way the starters have pitched, the way the bullpen. And the club record in that department is 11 straight games of 3 runs or less. So just 3 games off that pace.
Clete Thomas, the Auburn Tiger, is up with Brian Dozier to follow. 1 out. And Fernandez misses away, and it's 3-1. Estainer with a tweet. Do you like the designated hitter, or do you like pitchers hitting? That's always a debate in interleague play.
I like to put it in another way. Do I like to see a pitcher who can't hit? No. I don't. So you can't say, do you like the pitcher hitting? I like the National League style of ball. How's that?
All right. You feel that having a pitcher in the 9 spot forces managers to be more aggressive and creative?
Creative is the best way to describe it.
3-2. Pulled, foul. Well, for the Twins, they don't necessarily have a designated hitter like a David Ortiz, or like many American League teams had in the 90s, so to speak.
I think more American League teams are kind of getting away from that.
But they do use the designated hitter as a chance to give Joe Mauer a break from behind the plate.
Which brings up a good point with the afternoon game tomorrow.
Ryan Doumit, the other catcher, is nicked up.
Normally, a night game, and then with a day game the next day, Ron Gardenhire would probably have Mauer DH. But Ryan Doumit, his other catcher, again, who we've seen with the Pirates, a little bit banged up. He still could play. Mauer could play first base. You never know.
Clete Thomas walks. Brian Dozier comes up.
Say, Clete Thomas, remember he had that long first AB. He's seen 16 pitches today in this one from Jose. So 8 his first AB and 8 that time.
So he's got a big responsibility up there on that pitch count of 48. Now Dozier. Thomas has yet to steal a base this year. James asks an interesting question as he tweets, does anybody in the Marlins clubhouse miss the Showtime camera crew documenting everything they do? And you know what? I do, because the people that work for MLB Productions, who did the filming, were just terrific and very talented and fun to be around. And I was surprised and happy to see that when I got to Japan for the World Baseball Classic, they were there.
Actually, they're following Ozzie around right now.
For a documentary to be named later. Here's the 1-0 to Dozier. Runner goes, and a hit and run and a liner into left. Pierre has it. Holding second is Thomas. But the Twins putting the game in motion. Have runners at first and second, and now they've got what they want. They've got Mauer in a spot to drive in runs.
Yeah, it's always been something the Twins are free to do. They put the game in motion quite often. And with Thomas on the run, good swing by Dozier. A couple of men on with 1 down for the big guys.
There's Ron Gardenhire, former New York Met. Mauer lined to third in the first. Mauer takes out. Getting guys on base for Mauer has not been the easiest thing for the Twins this year. They've been searching for an answer in that leadoff spot. Dozier in the 2 spot is hitting just .229. It's very similar to the Marlins. The Marlins have had issues at the top of the order this year. Willingham's on deck. Fernandez to the plate. Fastball command is not there.
The command isn't there, and we haven't seen the 96s that we see occasionally from Jose. He's been right around 94 most of the night.
One thing Miami has seen from Fernandez this year is that he'll have games where first couple of innings he's not sharp, and then all of a sudden something clicks. And we'll see if he can find that certain something.
And he's going to have to find it dealing with these guys that are up there now and due up after Mauer and then Josh Willingham.
A lot of Ricky Nolasco questions tonight. Lots of reports that the Marlins and Ricky Nolasco and other teams may be in discussion. That one is hit to left. Pierre is back. Runner tags at second. Thomas headed for third, and smartly Pierre's throw goes to second, and that keeps Dozier at first. So at the corners for Willingham, and this legal reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Marlins, may not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Well, Nolasco's name is out there for certain. We don't have inside information, but it makes sense. Any team that is in a position that the Marlins are in, and the Fish right now are 25 under 500.
And there are a lot of teams that have entertained the same thoughts about a player.
And if you've got a player who is a veteran and you're a young team, or is at the end of a contract like Nolasco, those are the guys that other teams target. Into center field, Josh Willingham bangs a single, and the Twins are on the board. And the Hammer, who always was a nice run producer for the Fish, drives in number 35.
Well, he's been a pretty good run producer for the Twins as well. Last year, 110 RBIs to go along with 35 home runs. So that very typical Josh Willingham, compact, solid swing, line shot up the middle.
Silver Slugger Award last year for the Hammer. And here is Morneau. Morneau does not have pleasant memories of his last trip to South Florida. We've talked about it a few times. He had the home plate collision with Miguel Olivo, and Morneau ended up in the hospital with a collapsed lung.
One more thought on the Ricky Nolasco stuff. I think the misconception is when you read or see reports that the Marlins are shopping. Marlins are really shopping Ricky Nolasco. They're entertaining phone calls, that's for sure.
Here's the 1-0.
That's probably a better way to look at it.
Part two of many of these questions. What do you think the Marlins can get for Ricky Nolasco?
Given the fact that whoever gets him is probably going to only have him for a couple of months, 2.5 months, you're probably going to get a prospect, maybe not even a top prospect.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. Fastball for a strike.
Ricky makes a lot of money. He's going to after this year, and so whoever signs him, he's not going to be, more than likely not going to be their ace. Probably going to be a number 3 starter, 4 starter.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. But he is going to be in somebody's rotation next year, and he is going to have a nice contract. And deservedly so.
Yes, and he is a solid pitcher. Solid major league pitcher.
Morneau pokes it into the seats.
And as you and I have talked often this year, this whole situation for Ricky this year, he's been extremely professional the way he's handled it. And even now, even with all the talks and all the people guessing as to where he might go.
If I were a GM across baseball, I would love to have Ricky Nolasco in my rotation. Takes the ball, he's a winner. He'll every night be prepared, and every night give you a chance to win a ball game. Here's the 2-2. Pierre makes the catch, and Morneau flies out, but the Twins and the Hammer are up 1-0. Gardenhire and the Twins. It's 1-0 in the bottom of the third. Let's join Craig Minervini.
Hey, Rich, thank you very much. You mentioned the managers. Mike Redmond played for Ron Gardenhire for 5 years as the backup catcher. I asked Gardy today, I said, did you know Mike Redmond would be a manager? He said, you know what guys like this you do. He said, first of all, he's a catcher. He paid attention to everything. You have to as a good catcher. Secondly, he said, as a backup catcher, you're watching, you're managing almost along with the manager during the game throughout. And he said, you know, watch this guy come up as a backup where he did a great job for us and be a manager is great. I did say, do you feel a little old, though, that a guy you manage is managing? I mean, Gardenhire said it's scary. It's scary. He's the first one. But we talked to Mike about Ron Gardenhire, the influence he may have had on his managing career. And he said he liked the way he stuck up for guys. And we've seen Redmond many times go out there and argue on behalf of his players quite often, as a matter of fact. And this weekend, his first ejection as well. Rich?
Yeah, he's, in fact, he said after that ejection in San Francisco, Redmond said he was going to study the film and see if there was anything he could do better the next time out. Here's Fernandez, his first at bat. Pierre and Lucas follow against Kevin Correa. Chopper to third. Plouffe throws him out. And there's one out before Pierre gets here. Friday night is a Fireworks Friday. On the 28th, you can get the Sir Pizza 4-pack, which includes 4 tickets, 4 personal Sir Pizzas, and 4 Pepsi soft drinks for just $60. Well, stay after for a fireworks spectacular presented by Miccosukee Resort and Gaming. Go to Marlins.com for more. And here is Pierre. We told you that there is a social media suite here. Marlins Nation tweets out, Tommy Hutton. No one invited us to the social media suite, and we have a pretty influential blog, but we still watch your telecast. And if you log on to marlinsnation.com, you get a fine article that kind of chronicles where the Marlins have been in April and May, and the fact that they are 12-9 since a real struggle at the end of May, with nice color picture.
It's a sharp. This is, Tommy, not only a sharp-looking blog, but I would say influential as well. Pierre lines it foul.
But not in the sweep.
No, I don't know if. Now, this is not our doing. It's the Marlins organization that is.
Maybe that's because they had the club 12-9 in June instead of 11-9.
No, 12-9 since.
Okay.
Since they had struggled in May. They did include May 30th.
Okay.
Here's the 1-2. That's why they're so influential. Flip to first. Allison Williams will be heading to the social media suite.
Well, she has gold card to the social media suite.
That's a good point.
Gold pass.
Octavio, following up on Craig's report, wants to know how many more ejections does Mike Redmond need to catch Bobby Cox? Well, when Cox retired, he had the record, right?
Yeah, I'm searching in my mind.
120, 130?
140 or 50, I thought it was, but it could be way off.
Guys, I thought it was almost a full season. I thought it was close to over 150.
Yeah,
maybe even close to 160.
Let's just hope that Mike Redmond has as long a managerial career
and as much success as Bobby Cox.
He had a lot of fun with that ejection, though, when we talked to him. You're right, Rich. Look out, right here. Ah. Wow. Good thing John Tuitu is not the size of Giancarlo Stanton, our photographer, right there, because that was right over his head.
2-2 moves well. I haven't seen him take a ball squarely yet, which is a good thing. Lucas was robbed of a hit. Osvaldo Arcia made a terrific catch in right center field. Arcia, of course, was the key guy in the Fernandez-Correa matchup up in Minneapolis with that 3-run homer. Into right. Arcia there. And he makes the catch. In a 1-2-3 inning, Correa in a groove right now. Four and 3 on the road trip. As we told you, their first winning road trip since early June of last year, and outscored their opponents 22-16, 3 games. They lost by a total of 4 runs.
This would be the Cleveland Clinic fourth. That would be Jose Fernandez. This would be Allison Williams. A-Dub?
Hey guys, back here in the Marlins social media suite, first of the year, and you know that means the Fox Sports Florida girls are here. How has the evening been so far, Jordana?
It's awesome. You know, we love to talk to fans and have them here in our social media lounge. Couldn't be better.
Taking a lot of pictures?
Taking a ton of pictures, posting them all on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram. It's been a blast, and it's so cool to meet people from different industries.
All right, and you can see them all. Use the hashtag Twitter Tuesday. Have some fans here. Beth, longtime Marlins fan. How did you get invited to the social media suite? This is a tough ticket now.
I'm really not sure because I've only been on Twitter for 2 months.
Okay.
But 95% of the time I talk about the Marlins, and I talk about Jupiter, and I talk about New Orleans, and I talk about Jacksonville. And so does my husband, Juan.
Okay.
So we really are into all aspects of the team.
So, Juan, what's been the highlight so far of the evening for you guys?
The tour, awesome. It really is amazing. I've been here before, but the behind-the-scenes tour is really, really amazing. If you haven't done it, do it.
Do you have a new favorite part of the park now?
That's a tough question. The Clevelander was nice. It was nice.
It was better than we
Yeah,
expected.
it really was. You've got to see it to believe it. It's the entire park is amazing.
There really is nothing like it in all of baseball. It's so Miami.
It's incredible.
All right,
Incredible.
Beth,
We love
Juan,
coming here.
Good, and we're glad to have you guys here out in the social media suite. Lots of people, about 50 people in attendance, Marlins fans, local bloggers, and so forth, and I'll be chatting with some more throughout the night. Back to you guys.
All right, A-Dub, thanks for that. Jose Fernandez gets Trevor Plouffe to pop up. There's Dietrich makes the catch.
Rich, I have a question. First of all, a couple quick outs. Jose needs a low pitch inning here. My question is, the Fox Sports girls talking about the people down in the social media lounge, taking photos and pictures. People come up and visit us, and they don't ask for photos or pictures. They just come in and say hi.
Well, that's easy, Tommy. We don't smell nearly as nice. I mean, really.
Show your phone tweets.
Pedro Florimon takes a strike. The count's 1 ball and 1 strike. Bobby tweets in. Bobby Cox was ejected 156 times.
158, 3 in postseason, 161 total.
All right, so Bobby,
And that was from our an official member of the crack staff.
You were off by 2, but you were close. I think that'll get you into the showcase round.
That's a good way to remember it. Craig was talking about almost a full season, so you add in the 3 postseason ejections, and you get 161 games.
Fernandez misses away.
Doesn't look comfortable out there tonight. Don't know what it is. And watching Jose, he's just trying to piece it together, and that is impressive in itself because it's still just a 1-0 game.
And you can see him. He's behind the mound with the rosin bag, and it wasn't just his hand. He was all over his arm with the rosin bag. You can see the sweat dripping off him. It's very humid in the ballpark, and Florimon doesn't like that 3rd strike call. But Fernandez has a 1-2-3-4. The Twins have come to Miami and lead this ball game 1-0. rule that he has a question about. And there's many questions about many rules. On Sunday, Ed Lucas beat out an infield hit, and after running through the bag, he turned to his left to return to first and was tagged by the first baseman. In his day, that was an out because a left turn was an effort to advance. I was always taught to turn right. Is that rule no longer in effect or just ignored?
As you were reading that, Rich, we showed Ed Lucas. He did not make a turn left.
Yes, he did. He did turn left.
Well, no, that's not a turn to me.
Oh, understood. But
a turn is a turn. You cross the line, that's a turn.
Understood.
He didn't even cross over the line, and that wasn't even close to being called out.
Understood.
Watch.
But what Dave is saying is he turned to his left.
Well, what is he supposed to do? Back up backwards? Dave, that's not right. He didn't even turn.
You need to. I got to finish the answer.
It's not even a turn. A turn is you lean the shoulder and you make an effort like you're going to second base.
Which is where I was headed there. That's the rule is you have to make a concerted effort towards the bag.
And you didn't do that.
You can turn any way you want if you're going back to the bag. But, Dave, you got Tommy going, which there should be an award for the email that gets Tommy going the best.
I'm just glad we had video of that.
Here's Morrison now. See, I thought the whole Marmol thing was going to set you off. But it was.
I'm at peace with that.
Morrison with Ozuna next after Stanton is out number 1. So
now, the other concern here, and we're going to forget about that turn now, in this game, here's Correa working in the 4th inning. The Marlins didn't have good swings against him in Minneapolis in the game against the Twins up there, and he went 7 innings and threw the ball well. But once again, you got a guy who's not overpowering, and so far we haven't seen a whole lot of real good at-bats.
Morrison's ground ball. The first goes under the glove of Morneau and into right field. Wow. And the Twins, who came in with only 31 errors on the season, have made a couple of them here.
Yeah, this ball scoots and stays down. He's expecting that hop to come up to him and stay down, and as they say, right through the wickets. You may ask, what American League team has made the fewest errors? The Baltimore Orioles, coming into play tonight, just 25.
Here comes Ozuna. The other thing that concerns about this Correa start is that Miami's had opportunities. Drive to right, Arcia over, makes the catch. Morrison started to second and now gets back to first. And so Ozuna hits it hard, but is out. Miami, remember, had a walk and a double in the first, but didn't score because Pierre was caught stealing. They had first and second and nobody out in the second and didn't score. Echeverria bounced into a double play. And that's Kevin Correa in a nutshell. He's going to have base runners, but when he does, he's usually able to pitch around them. Brantley singled back in the second. That pop-up towards the wall, and Plouffe makes the catch, and the Marlins are done in the 4th. 1-0 Twins. We're back after this sports injury prevention message from Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Florida is brought to you by Honda. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. And by White House Down, in theaters June 28th. That's a couple days away. Jose Fernandez has not been as sharp as he has this month, but still it's a 1-0 game.
He had an 11-pitch inning last inning. So see if he can feed off that, and he has an opportunity starting with Correa here.
Ground ball to the left of Lucas.
Of course, Correa only threw 7 pitches last inning.
Of course, Fernandez surprised when he made the opening day roster, but once the Marlins and the baseball world saw him make that debut in New York, no surprise after that. We've had a few emails about his glove, wondering if that glove was legal since it looks orange.
Well, we occasionally see a blue glove. As long as it's not a distraction.
And as long as he doesn't make a concerted effort after passing the bag towards second. Just smack me.
Just let it go.
Just smack me. That's all you need to do. Clete Thomas pulls one foul. Now, Clete Thomas has been a pitch count machine.
He's seen 8 pitches in each of his first 2 at bats, so 16 pitches total.
Oh, 2 pitch. In the air. Dietrich is out. In comes Stanton. Dietrich calls. And Dietrich catches. All right, here is your Just for Men Auto Stop foolproof stat. Youngest Marlins starters. Fernandez, the youngest. Brian Dempster, Joe Fontenot, Brad Hand, and Jacob Turner.
Joe Fontenot, I believe, came over in that deal from the Giants. I believe when the Marlins sent Livan Hernandez to the Giants. I think Jason Grilli came in that deal.
Oh, what year Jason Grilli's having for the Pittsburgh Pirates. What a run the Pirates are on right now. 46-30. They're a game behind St. Louis. Pittsburgh has won 4 straight. And the Pirates have done it against their own division. They're 21-13 against the Central. And that's saying something, because you've got the Cardinals, the Pirates, the Reds as well are 45-32. 2-1 to Dozier. In the American League Central, home of the Twins, Detroit 42-32, the class right there. Good high fastball by Fernandez.
There's a little 95 action there from Jose.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top 5. Joe Mauer on deck. Josh Willingham with a 2-out RBI single in the 3rd. That's all the scoring in this ballgame. High pop, Brantley for a look. And that's all he'll get. It's just beyond the screen. Remember, tomorrow's game is a 12:40 start, noon start for Marlins Live. And Fernandez still trying to dry off the hand, and he just picked up a...
I think that's affected his breaking ball. There's a few times he's tried to put away a hitter with a 3-2 breaking ball. We've seen him do that, and he's missed with it not gotten a pitch over the plate. So I think there's been a little bit of a struggle, maybe with the humidity. I mentioned they didn't close the roof today until about 4:20, so it was warm in here early.
All right, a Joe Mauer question. And this is from the Impossible Girl. Is Joe Mauer's beauty as overwhelming in person as it is on TV?
You know, I didn't want to stare real long when I was up close with Joe Mauer, but
we did
he's a handsome guy.
We did reference the Head and Shoulders commercial.
Yeah. Went to high school in St. Paul. So a Twin Cities guy.
Mauer was headed to Florida State to play quarterback before the Twins took him first and signed him. Keeping him healthy has been a challenge over the last few years. And more you're seeing teams trying to squeeze more at bats out of a catcher who can really hit, like a Buster Posey or a Mauer, by getting him some time at first, or in Mauer's case as a DH.
Yeah, he has started 19 times at first base, or excuse me, as the DH, and he started a handful of times at first base. In the last couple of years in interleague play, Joe Mauer's hit almost 400. He's hit 398.
Dozier's at first. Now here's the part that you pointed out for Fernandez. He's having trouble putting some hitters away, and he's wiping that hand. Marlins just came off of a trip to the desert and a trip to San Francisco, where it was.
We had dry heat. We had nice cool weather. San Francisco.
One, two. That breaking ball is fouled, and it pops out of Brantley's glove.
Now, speaking of San Francisco, too, Rich, we heard so much while we were there about their center fielder, Angel Pagan, with his hamstring, re-injuring that. And reading today, he's going to have surgery and could miss the rest of the year.
One, two, muscled into right center, falls for a hit. Ozuna picks it up, runner on his way to third, and the throw is not in time. Mauer, after lining out twice, has a hit here in the fifth, and the Twins with runners at the corners.
You look at a couple of areas, and the reason you see the pitch count 290 right now, having difficulty putting hitters away. Jose Fernandez tonight just 3 strikeouts, 2 of those Floriman, the number 8 hitter, and 1 the pitcher, Kevin Correa.
Well, here's the guy that hurt Fernandez with an RBI 2-out single in the third. That's Josh Willingham. Hammer, who was a fixture for the Marlins in left field back in the old ballpark, sent to the Nationals, had a real nice year with Oakland, and has found a home in Minnesota.
You mentioned it last time up. Josh Willingham, 9 years in the Marlins organization. And a guy is why you always look at the draft. A guy who wasn't a high pick. Josh Willingham, a 17th round draft pick by the Marlins.
We've had a few Colin Moran questions as to what's his status right now. I think teams right now are starting to negotiate with all their first-round picks, and especially those guys that were in the College World Series, like Moran in North Carolina. The Marlins certainly didn't talk to him with any heavy negotiations while he was competing in the College World Series. So now that that is over, teams can contact those players and start to negotiate about signing. Echeverria, quick flip on to second in time. And Fernandez gets Willingham this time. Hammer got him the first time. Hello.
All right, man, it's time to...
Español está disponible por SAP.
Joe and Cookie, who arrived
Tommy,
magically.
Richie, welcome back, guys.
Hey,
How you guys doing?
Hey, Cookie. Hey, Joe. We talked to Joe a little before the game. Cookie, I know you had to enjoy the road trip that the Marlins came back from. Played good baseball.
Tommy, that was great to see. You know, we finally won 4 out of the 7 games, and I think that you see a little enthusiasm, better hitting, you know, clutch hitting and pitching, and it's good to see that now we have the whole ball club healthy, and that's a different story.
Here's Echeverria. Takes a breaking ball that misses outside. Joe, how is Cookie to work with? Because when we're around Cookie, we talk baseball, man. I mean, it's whenever we need like good common sense baseball talk, we turn to Cookie.
Well, I mean, I think the name speaks for itself. His name is Cookie. He's a sweet guy. He's always got a baseball story to talk about. And we do the same thing. We talk about baseball all the time. And he's always got an analogy, a story, something up his sleeve about something that happened at some point during his career. And for me, it's a pleasure to work with an encyclopedia like Cookie Rojas.
Well, we are going to drop Cookie's name a lot when we go to Kansas City, whether we're headed down to a barbecue spot or out to the Royals Hall of Fame.
Oh, man, that was
Kansas City.
You're going to eat good over there.
Yes, great ribs there, man. You're going to love it. No question about that.
Yeah, Cookie, that means that you're picking up the tab. That's what
and also Kansas City come back here, Tommy, right, and Richie? Or we play him on the road all the time?
I think we just go to Kansas City.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I'm not going to call him Cookie. I'm going to just refer to him as Octavio. And they will know.
Nobody will know that.
Come on.
No question.
Not even at Arthur Bryant's?
No, sir. No, sir. That's great, guys.
All right, guys. Have a good show.
You too.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Derek Dietrich is up. Echeverria flied out to right. A.J. Ramos in Miami's bullpen. Fernandez is due up next, and it looks like he's coming out. Jordan Brown is on deck. Dietrich line to short. Here's the 2-1. A high strike. 2-2.
We see Jordan Brown on deck. Talked about the pitch count, the way it's been, I hate to say somewhat of a struggle because he's given up 4 hits and a run, but we've been spoiled. It's a good pitch by Correa, a little 3-1 two-seamer, just ran it away.
3-2. Swing and a miss. And Dietrich strikes out. Now, Tommy, I think the fans enjoyed your rant so much that we've been flooded with rules questions. But here's one that I think we can answer. It's from John in Boca.
I hope you can answer.
The ball that went into the stands during the Giant series was ruled a ground rule double. Why wasn't Blanco sent back to third? Why wasn't Blanco sent to third? Because, remember, Barry Zito was at first. He was allowed to score.
Because it wasn't ruled a ground rule double.
There you go. It was fan interference, and at that point, the umpires are allowed to put the runners where they feel the runners would have been. The umpires, with 2 outs, felt that Zito would have scored. Mike Redmond's response was, that's Barry Zito. He wouldn't have scored. And he used a little more colorful language than that, and that got him tossed out of the ballgame. When it's fan interference, it's not the same as a ground rule double.
Yeah, fan interference, all of a sudden, it becomes umpire's discretion. He can determine. Not too many appearances. Been a rough stretch for Jordan Brown because he just hasn't had many appearances, many opportunities to pinch hit.
Brown hits a fly ball to left field, and Josh Willingham is there. Kevin Correa is in some kind of a groove right now. Marlins had opportunities early. Since then, nada. With the Chevron Crazy 8 ticket offer. Fill up at a participating Chevron to get $8 home run porch or $18 home plate box tickets. Visit your local Chevron or marlins.com/Chevron for details. Restrictions apply. And of course, tomorrow is a 12:40 start. 1-0 Twins on top. Miami has just 2 hits against Kevin Correa. It is an email Twitter Tuesday. You can get a hold of us by both Twitter and email. For emails, go to the Marlins page at foxsportsflorida.com. Then click on Game Connect. Once you're there, go to Ask the Broadcast or on Twitter at Fox Marlin. Hashtag is Twitter Tuesday. Tonight, Allison Williams joins us now. Hey, Dub.
Hey there, guys. And there's all sorts of benefits to getting involved in Twitter Tuesday. You could get your question read and answered on the broadcast, or you could get an interview. You see, Monica tweeted me after I did the previous interview here in the social media suite. No, come interview me. So I am here now with Monica. How has your evening been in the social media suite?
Oh my gosh, it's been great. I mean, I got to see the whole park, and it's really cool.
So Monica's 17. She's going to be a senior at St. Thomas Aquinas. And I know I'm the Contessa, but it's really the young people that are in the know with social media. So how big is Twitter and like Instagram now? Is it bigger than Facebook?
I think it's way bigger than Facebook. I think that Twitter is just so big, and now that Instagram has video, I mean, it's taking over Facebook.
So we got Tommy and Rich on Twitter. So next up, we're going to have to get them on Instagram, right? To make sure they keep up with the times?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm also here with Claudia, who just told me she's always on her phone, never sets it down, always on Twitter. I got you to set it down, though. Are you doing okay without it right now?
Yes, I'm trying to keep it in my pocket as much as I can for now.
A whole 3 minutes without checking Twitter. And you are actually kind of involved in the team. Do you have a little bit of a blog, or what do you do to kind of cover the Marlins a bit here and there?
Well, I do blog for Sideline Hype. I did work in sports radio, so I have that going. And I'm also interviewed once a month on Yahoo Sports. And I got featured in a story, so it's fun to talk about the team that I love so much.
How long have you been a Marlins fan for?
Since 93. Season ticket holder since 93.
Very nice. So then to be this close to the team and involved in this capacity has to be pretty cool for you. What's that like?
It's a dream come true. It's my comfort zone. Baseball has been my comfort zone for so long, and the Marlins have been basically my second family, so it's exciting.
We're going to keep an eye out for you down at the ballpark and around the clubhouse, okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
She won't be hard to miss. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Allison.
I'm intrigued by the Instagram thing. I don't know how that works.
We'll get there, baby steps. A.J. Ramos is not only on Instagram, but he's also on the mound as he takes over for Jose Fernandez.
Good to see A.J. Ramos pick up his first Major League win. We had all those firsts in San Francisco. Tom Kohler, Ed Lucas with his first home run.
Mike Redmond, his first Major League ejection as a manager. Did we ever find out, was Red ever ejected as a player? We have sources in both organizations.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, guys, he told us one time, and it was a game where he and the manager got tossed. I think it was against Boston, and two of the Red Sox also got tossed in the same inning, I think he said.
So he was with the Twins.
Yeah, he was a Twin, and trying to think, I think he said it was a bang-bang play at the plate, and the guy was clearly out, and he got tossed on the play. And later in that inning, it might have been Francona, and one of the Red Sox also got tossed. And so you had the 4-for-1 in that one inning.
So first as a manager.
Yep.
Trevor Plouffe up there now.
This is the thing that Ramos can do so well with his spot not coming around. You can get him out there, and if he throws well the way he really looks like he is tonight, you can get a couple of innings out of A.J. Ramos. And to his job right now, keep it a 1-0 game and hope that his offense can come alive.
Plouffe, the 26-year-old from Southern California. Parts of 3 seasons with the Twins. Has yet to spend a full season in the big leagues. Ramos thought he had strike 3, and the count is 1-2. And he did. Checkers brings you Fox Tracks. Two balls, 2 strikes. Got him. Plouffe goes down. Ramos gets the strikeout, and A.J. works a 1-2-3-6. Marlins still trying to get to Kevin Correa. This was a Jose Fernandez start with the Twins in for a 2-game series. Minnesota and Miami. With Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine, Allison Williams, Rich Waltz with you. Jose Fernandez is out, but Kevin Correa is still standing in a 1-0 game in the bottom of the 6th. In a ballgame in which Fernandez went 5 innings and threw 94 pitches. He was not overpowering, but he was effective in terms of keeping the score at just 1-0 and allowing just 4 hits. But give the Twins credit. Heck, give Clete Thomas credit. He saw 19 pitches alone in 3 at-bats. Get ready for Fox Sports 1, America's new 24-hour sports network. Fox Sports 1 will be your home for great live sports. All the news and highlights you want, shows and specials that only Fox could bring you. Fox Sports 1 coming August 17th. So Pierre is out. Here is Lucas. And getting base runners against Kevin Correa has been awful tough since the 2nd. Only 1 since then, and that was Morrison reaching on an error. That's a base hit center field, and it's Ed Lucas who was robbed of a hit back in the 1st.
Lucas has had pretty good swings every time up. Stayed back, hit that ball well into center. No, we talked about Kevin Correa with the Giants, with the Padres, with the Pirates. But a guy who's been just the ultimate journeyman type pitcher. I mean, you look at what he averages. He's going to average 10, 12 wins a year. He's going to give you about 170, 180 innings. Maybe not quite 30 starts a year.
Giancarlo Stanton takes in. He was an all-star back in 2011.
Correa, the type of guy over the years has given managers work out of the bullpen and times as a starter.
A couple of years with the Pirates. A couple of years with the Padres. Giant draft pick and parts of 6 years with the Giants.
Yeah, that National League West covered a little bit. No Dodgers, no Rockies though.
1-1 to Stanton. Lucas at first. Minnesota a 1-0 lead. This is exactly the type of game the Marlins have been playing for the last 2 weeks. Stan nearly hit one out back in the 1st when he doubled off the wall over Arcia, who was draped on the wall in right field.
Good take by Giancarlo on that pitch. Correa tried to get him to chase that little cutter.
Stanton now with 7 doubles to go with his 7 home runs. And he walks. So Stanton takes the walk from around the National League, the FPNL scoreboard. Washington at home. Arizona's on the road now, and that's top of the 6th. Washington with a unhealthy 6-0 lead. Milwaukee in the 3rd, a 1-0 lead over the Cubs. Dodgers and Giants, cats and dogs, going at it in Los Angeles. And the Phillies are on the coast to take on the Padres. The Padres, of course, will be here for a weekend wraparound series, which starts on Friday and ends on Monday.
Part of that national scoring. A home run by Adam LaRoche has a couple of hits, 3 RBIs in that game against Arizona.
FPNL scoreboard features National League games. As you pointed out, there's a lot of interleague games tonight, so that's why there was only those National League games up there. The Cardinals are in Houston. Bottom of the 3rd, that's scoreless. The Reds are in Oakland tonight. Pittsburgh is in Seattle for a 3-game series. The Mets a 2-1 lead over the White Sox in Chicago, top third. Morrison dumps that one into right center field. It falls for a base hit. Holding at third is Lucas, and a strong throw to the plate. That would have been a close play. That's a tough ball to read for both Clete Thomas and Ed Lucas.
Yeah, and you saw Clayton Thomas alertly, once he knew he wasn't going to catch this ball, he holds up his glove right there, like trying to decoy the runner. He might have decoyed Lucas a little bit. And it appears that Thomas, having not seen him, throws that ball in. He looks like he has a pretty good arm.
Rick Anderson, the pitching coach. And the Twins bullpen is active now. Now you've got Marcell Ozuna up with the bags loaded. Correa used a double play to get out of a jam in the second. Ozuna's reached on an error by the shortstop and then lined out to right. So Miami has their chance here to get on the board to at least tie the game.
You made a good point, Rich, when you talked about how so many of the games, all the games in San Francisco, and then the close games in Arizona, the Marlins have been involved in. The good part of that is that they get involved in one here tonight, and they don't panic. They feel, they know that they've come back and won games like this, so no panic. And we saw Marcell Ozuna get some huge base hits in San Francisco, and he's done pretty well this year with bases loaded.
3 for 4 with the bags loaded this year. They're loaded. Infield's back for 2. Drive up the middle into center field. That's a base hit. Lucas will score. Stanton around third. They'll send him. Thomas bobbles the ball, and Stanton will score. And the Marlins have the lead, and it's Ozuna again, who had the big series in San Francisco, who gives the Fish a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, 3 for 4, 4 for 5 now in bases loaded situations. He did not waste any time. He jumped on that first pitch by Correa. Got a pitch up in the zone. And right back up. They may give Clete Thomas an error because I think Stanton was going to hold at third. And once he bobbled the ball, that's when Joe Espada waved him home. Joe alertly seeing that Thomas bobbled it. They may not. We'll have to see how it's scored. And it is scored. It'll be a base hit, 1 RBI, and an error charge to Thomas.
Rob Brantley now. 2-1 Fish. Brantley with a chopper out towards second. Dozier gets 1, and that's it. Nice slide by Ozuna. That's a veteran slide by the rookie out at second base. He knows how to play the game, Thomas Hutton.
Yes, he does. It's fun to watch him. He knows when he has to make that slide. We've seen him make some tremendous defensive plays. All right, just go right to running. You're at the shortstop. You still can touch the bag. Good job.
At the corners now for Echeverria. Echeverria bounced into a double play and flied to right. And so Correa now has lost the lead.
And the Marlins have gotten Jose Fernandez off the hook, too.
Brian Dunsing is in the bullpen. If the Marlins keep this lead, A.J. Ramos is looking at his second career win. Long way to go. Echeverria, liner to right. And right there is Arcia who makes the catch. But the Marlins scored twice and lead it 2-1. who had the great series in San Francisco, knocking in big runs late in a couple of wins, has done it here in the bottom of the 6th. Miami has a 2-1 lead over Minnesota. Family Sunday on Sunday, Padres Marlins 1:10, and bring your dogs to the game. It's Bark at the Park, and fans get a Juan Pierre 20th anniversary bobblehead courtesy of Pepsi. You can see former players and coaches as the Marlins celebrate 20 years of Marlins baseball. Go to marlins.com for tickets. Camera 12, ladies and gentlemen. You can't have Twitter and Email Tuesday without a little Camera 12, can you? That looks good. The drink. Just saying.
I'm thinking healthier than the Ghirardelli Sundae that I had the other day in San Francisco.
That's funny. The Ghirardelli waiter delivered hot chocolate and a big ice cream sundae to the booth on Saturday, or Sunday rather. Here's Pedro Florimon, and he takes a strike. And Tommy Hutton rolled up his sleeves and dove right into the sundae and got about a third of the way through and had that look on his face like, you know, the kid that's 5 and has had a little too much ice cream.
I better hold off on that.
Florimon, the pitcher spot, and Correa is on deck. And Clete Thomas, top of the order. And A.J. Ramos, his second inning. Marlins have given him the lead. Now, can he hold it? Bouncer Echeverria's way. Behind the back, there's that quick release. And on plays like that, Tommy, his throws are chest high, middle of the bag, even when he's moving to his left or his right.
He makes that release, the catch and throw, so quickly. And obviously, to make a strong throw and a perfect throw, you have to get a good grip. So he makes that so fast, almost like he's turning a double play, and then the throw is right there to Logan Morrison.
You know the old saying that a great first baseman will make a shortstop look good? Echeverria makes Logan Morrison look
makes
good.
the first baseman look good. Eduardo Escobar, the pinch hitter.
So Escobar obviously had warmed up and was ready to go. Had the Twins been able to get Florimon at first, it looks like Ron Gardenhire would have had Correa out there to bunt.
I think so, because if you're not going to pinch hit for the pitcher at all, then there's no reason to not have the pinch hitter out there in the on-deck circle. And so he can get loose a little bit.
Twins don't have a real deep bench.
They're only carrying 4 men on their bench. They have an extra pitcher in the bullpen.
Claudia says thank you to Marlins social media and at Fox Marlins. You look smoking hot on FSN. And she's obviously referring to the Fox Sports Florida girls who were there. We have some questions about Christian Yelich and Jake Marisnick.
From Andrew. Yes.
Andrew and one other from Ray. Can you give us a status report on both? You take Yelich.
I'll take Yelich. Christian Yelich, who had a kind of a oblique, not quite a stomach, a little bit of a strain, has been out for about 10 days. He's going to start playing a couple of games in the Gulf Coast League, and then he'll be on to Jacksonville in a few days. So he will tomorrow or the next day play in the Gulf Coast League, and then up and get ready for Jacksonville. So he's ready to go.
And Marisnick, who had re-injured his hand, is back and playing at AA Jacksonville. Fly ball, center field, Ozuna, and Escobar is out number 2.
Yeah, Marisnick was hit by a pitch on the same hand that he was hit by a pitch on in spring training. Only this time it wasn't broken. He missed a few games, and yeah, he's back in action.
Michael wants to go back to camera 12. Marlins fan 27 wants to know, is there a camera 13? And if so, assign it to Allison Williams. Allison's in the suite, man. She's in the social media suite, trading tweets and Instagrams and networking and enjoying, I believe, what is a complimentary and very nice spread of food. All right, there's camera 12.
a very large beer. The nice thing about camera 12 is that it's mobile in the Cleveland. At the knees and a strike. In the 7th, A.J. Ramos in relief of Jose Fernandez. Miami has a 2-1 lead thanks to Marcelo Zuna.
Ramos has come on. He's faced 5. He's retired 5.
Miami's pen is active. Marisnik was in the leadoff spot tonight, 1 for 4. Has scored a run and has walked.
He's hitting high 280s, about 287, I think, last time I checked.
Christian Yelich has been in the leadoff spot a bit.
When Yelich was there, he was hitting leadoff. And once he went down with an injury, then Marisnik settled in there.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Cleet Thomas is doing to A.J. Ramos what he did to Jose Fernandez, and that's see a lot of pitches.
Boy, and he sure has tonight.
Thomas has now seen 27 pitches.
Wow. You mentioned born in Jacksonville, lives in Tampa now. Gotten over 100 games with the Tigers a few years ago.
That's a fair ball. And down the line it goes. It's picked up by Pierre. That was one of those balls that the third base umpire, Bruce Streckman, called fair, and it didn't bounce inside the baseline past the bag, but as long as it goes over the base in fair territory on the ground, it's a fair ball.
And a tremendous at bat. This pitch is way off the plate. It's a good pitch by Ramos. Hits fair, goes over the bag, doesn't have to land in fair territory, and all of a sudden, Cleet Thomas, with another terrific at bat, has himself a 2-out double.
Now Dozier, Minnesota's second baseman. Dozier takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Well, Dan Jennings, the lefty down there warming up, and I am sure if it gets to Joe Mauer this inning, Jennings will pitch to Mauer.
Dozier out of Southern Miss. Here's the 1-1. Brian Dozier attended Itawamba Agricultural High School in Mississippi, where he was a standout baseball player. He also earned 3 letters in football, 1 in basketball, and 2 in golf.
A terrific athlete. He was their player of the year, minor league player of the year in 2011. Playing second base tonight, but he has played a lot of shortstop in his past too.
2-2. Got him. A.J. Ramos gets Brian Dozier, and Ramos with 2 scoreless in the books. Hey, Camera 12 is with us tonight, and we're glad you are as well. Tommy.
Yeah, it was an interesting start, I thought, for Jose Fernandez. Maybe didn't have all of his best stuff, but I tell you what, he managed his way through 5 innings, had 3 strikeouts, but the big hit for the Twins, a base hit by Josh Willingham, put them up 1-0, and the big hit by the Marlins, Marcell Ozuna, who now this year is 4 for 5 in bases-loaded situations. Got an RBI, an error allowed the other run to score, and just like that, the Marlins took a 2-1 lead in the 6th inning as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning now.
See, even the Twins fans are enjoying not only the Clevelander, but also the local fare. Brian Dunsing is in. Derek Dietrich goes to right field and deep and back and gone. The Twins went to the lefty, and Dietrich goes out of the yard.
It's amazing his struggles showed up on the West Coast in Arizona and San Francisco. Dietrich was 1 for 17. He hits his 7th home run here. Remember, he lined out to short his first AB, so he showed some signs of adjusting in good AB. And I believe of his 7 home runs, I believe 3 are against left-handed pitching. So the move doesn't pay off for Ron Gardenhire. So that was number 4 against a left-hander. So 4 of his 7 home runs. A little slider. He stays on it. And gets number 7.
Justin Ruggiano against Dunsing. Ruggiano shortens the bunt, takes outside. It's 1-1. Well, Dietrich talked with Allison Williams right before first pitch. We had a live interview from the field, and he talked about being a young player and trying to make the adjustments in this game, and that he was hopeful that he could make the adjustments, learn from his struggles. He talked about having more consistent at-bats. He's lined out, struck out, and homered in this ball game, and Dunsing steps off.
The amazing thing with his struggles, Derek Dietrich is tied for 2nd on the club in home runs with 7, tied with Giancarlo.
Brian Dunsing shares something with Dan Jennings. They're both Nebraska Cornhuskers. Ruggiano takes down low. Josh Renicky in the bullpen. Ruggiano, the second pinch hitter to occupy this spot in the order. Remember, just 5 innings from Jose Fernandez. Fernandez gave up just 1 run and 4 hits, but he threw 94 pitches in the process. Jordan Brown flied out in the 5th, and here's Ruggiano, who was coming off that big day on Sunday, a 2-homer day. The odd part of the Sunday, Ruggiano with a little bit of a sore shoulder. Mike Redmond mentioned that in his pregame chat today.
And Red was up front, given the fact that he said, I wanted to get some power at the top of the lineup in the leadoff spot.
2-2. Breaking ball misses down low, and we talked about the Twins going with a lefty tomorrow, so expect to see Ruggiano in that leadoff spot tomorrow.
Because Juan Pierre, you would have expected to see in the leadoff spot against Matt Cain in that game that Ruggiano started.
Ruggiano sitting on a 3-2 from Dunsing. And he pulls the breaking ball foul. Well, I mean, Ruggiano's career has been one of perseverance and trying to hang in there ever since he was drafted in the 25th round by the Dodgers. Had promised to let the scout that drafted him hunt on his land in Texas to get the contract. Climbed his way up to the big leagues with the Rays, and finally got extended time with the Marlins last year and really sparkled, and he's been very productive this year.
And we were talking about it in San Francisco. Played with some guys that are with the Dodgers now, and when you play with players that get called up and you feel that you're in their league, that you feel you can play at the major league level. Matt Kemp was on that team. Russell Martin was on that team. James Loney played on that minor league team with Rusciano.
Pierre takes a strike from Dunsing. A Derek Dietrich homer has stretched the lead to 3-1 in the bottom of the 7th.
Always good to get that late inning insurance.
Ron Gardenhire, part of the Toyota trend. The Twins have been outscored in losing 6 of their last 8 road games. Outscored a bunch. You see Gardenhire's not in a real good mood. Pierre swings and misses at an inside fastball. And Dunsing has a pair of strikeouts after giving up the Dietrich homer.
With right-handers coming up, Gardenhire looks like he's going to make a move.
And when we get back, we'll dive back into the emails and the tweets. 3-1 Marlins on top. Renicky coming in. On top of the Twins, Ron Gardenhire going to his bullpen. Brian Dunsing started the inning. The lefty gave up a home run to a lefty, and Derek Dietrich. Then he struck out Justin Ruggiano and Juan Pierre.
And there's a look at Josh Renicky. Just a good hard thrower, good curveball, but a guy who just a tremendous athlete and is probably wondering how his Bruins are doing in Game 2 of the College World Series. Mississippi State, UCLA in the best of 3.
There was a Valleca sighting the other night, wasn't
yes,
it?
Yes, that's Chris Valleca's brother get a couple of hits.
Well,
now Josh Renicky at UCLA not only pitched, he played the outfield, and for a couple of years was wide receiver. So he did a little bit of everything for the Bruins.
One to Lucas, and it's outside. Well, that's why we have a crack staff, right? To find scores like that.
But because I believe the UCLA won last night. They won the first game. I believe game 2 was tonight.
Of course, the crack staff has answered. That's why I have a computer in the booth to look that stuff up yourself. Down to first goes Ed Lucas. That gives Giancarlo Stanton a start. Tomorrow's starting pitching matchup brought to you by Chevron. Scott Diamond is left-handed. Tom Kohler is right-handed. Together, they will pitch tomorrow. 12:40 first pitch. 12 o'clock for Marlins Live. Oh, 1 pitch. Stanton with a mean rip.
Didn't he, though?
Giancarlo doubled in the first. Bounced to short his second time up, and then walked in the Marlins' 2-run 6th.
Right now, Josh Renicky can just say, I'm glad I got away with that. Because that was a good pitch for Stanton to go after.
Renicky with his 0-2. And he strikes him out. And his UCLA Bruins are up 3-0 in the bottom of the third over Mississippi State. Derek Dietrich, random wreck from Georgia Tech, hits it out. Let's check in with Allison Williams.
Hey there, Rich. I'm here with Eric Winston, former tackle for the University of Miami Hurricanes from 2002 to 2005. Played all your college games here, I guess. This was the site of the Orange Bowl. What are some of your favorite memories from games at the Orange Bowl?
Well, obviously, my freshman year at Florida State, wide right one or wide left or whatever it was, and then that catapulting us to the national championship game. Obviously, anytime you beat Virginia Tech and just a lot of the big wins against the big rivals that we had. It was so much fun. I remember Thursday night, Pittsburgh. That was a close game. It was just there were so many games, so many great games, so many great players on the field that you look back and you enjoy it more and more every year that you're not there.
Yeah, of course, Eric's freshman year was the year Miami made it to the Fiesta Bowl and lost to Ohio State on rather tough call there to end things. But Eric, your first trip to Marlins Park, so you're driving over the bridge and you see the space shuttle that people call it, that it kind of looks like your Marlins Park instead of the Orange Bowl. What was that like for you?
Well, it's so much bigger than the Orange Bowl. You could hardly see the Orange Bowl from the interstate. I remember getting bussed in, and you could hardly see. You could only see the top lights. here you can see everything. I mean, it's gigantic, so you can really see it coming over. They did an outstanding job with it. It looks phenomenal. The lights, everything. It's very Miami. It's such a beautiful park. It's a lot of fun. I think it's great that they put such a beautiful stadium here.
So he's a big fan. He hasn't been to the Clevelander yet. That's for after the game, right?
That's after the game, Clevelander. We'll just keep it going throughout.
All right, good stuff, Eric. So good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Eric Winston, guys, back to you.
Thank you, Allison. Mike Dunn's into the ball game, and he comes in to face Joe Mauer, Josh Willingham, Justin Morneau. The Marlins bullpen charged with protecting a 2-run lead now. And A.J. Ramos in line to pick up career win number 2.
That last pitch, that good breaking ball, that's a pitch I think that's really elevated Mike Dunn to another level. He's been able to throw that consistently to left-handers, and he's got the meat of the order right here in the 8th inning with Mauer, with Willingham, and then Morneau.
Oh, and 2. Mauer's lined out twice and singled. Sends a fly ball, foul territory. Pierre, and it's into the seats. So the count 0-2. Miami trying to win this ball game after taking 3 of 4 in San Francisco. Miami 11-9 in June, and if you want to go back to that last day of May, they are 12-9. That's going to be a base hit. Mauer's got 24 doubles. This is going to be a single. Pierre's there. And the Twins have a leadoff man aboard. Now you got guys certainly they can hit it out of the ballpark. Willingham especially. Justin Morneau will follow.
Well, you see that swing against the lefty, and that's exactly why Joe Mauer is hitting over 330. It's why he's a 325 lifetime hitter.
Miami's bullpen is stirring right now as Dunn misses low to Willingham.
Looks like Chad Qualls down there stirring.
Alex tweets, please answer this question. Who's the odd man out? Stanton, Yelich, Ozuna, or Marisnik?
Things always play out, don't they?
Well, right now, Yelich and Marisnik are in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
And as general managers, and baseball people will tell you.
And Marisnik and Yelich have been hurt this season, so if you look ahead, you don't expect everybody to play 162 games.
And you don't know if you have 3 prospects there in Yelich, Ozuna, and Marisnik. You don't know. I mean, prospects are prospects. If you have 10 prospects.
If all 3 pan out to be terrific major leaguers, you've hit the jackpot.
Absolutely. Not every prospect does pan out. And the Marlins know that maybe more than other teams over the last 8 to 10 years. The last 2 or 3 years, it feels like, and it seems like, the Marlins drafts have yielded more prospects of a higher caliber than in years past. I mean, Fernandez, Yelich, Marisnik.
I would say
Marisnik, excuse me, was acquired by the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he was a Blue Jays, and that's why I was going to say, Rich, I think he would be the wild card in that because he hasn't come up in the system, and the organization maybe doesn't know him as well as they they know Ozuna as well as they know Yelich. They're getting to know him this year. That's for sure. We got to know him in spring training a little bit.
Here's the 2-2. And especially in this day and age of injuries, when you have prospects on the way and guys playing in the big leagues, until you have to make a move, you don't speculate, nor do you talk about, well, who's leaving or who's coming, because sometimes it never comes to pass. Some guys get hurt. Some guys get traded. Some guys don't make it. That one is hammered, as in Josh Willingham to the track. Pierre makes the catch. Boy, Hammer's thinking to himself in the old football stadium.
It might have been off the scoreboard.
That's right.
I don't know if he hit that all that well, though. I think he hit it good. But if he hit it good, he's really wondering that. Juan Pierre able to get back right on the warning track, put it away. So a hard out. Mike Dunn will take it.
Our Cholula spotlight on Justin Morneau. New Westminster, British Columbia. Been there many times. And he grew up idolizing another BC player, Larry Walker.
Who didn't if they were from Western Canada and a baseball player?
Morneau fouls it back. 0 for 3 is Morneau. Mr. Dimples, always a welcome companion on emails and tweets. Do the Marlins know it's June? If not, please don't tell them. And he's referencing the last 2 Junes, which were miserable for the Fish.
Yeah.
A combined, 13 wins, 8 and 5. And so if the Marlins win tonight and win tomorrow, they will have equaled their win totals from the last 2 Junes combined.
Yeah, the Marlins come into play tonight 11-9 in June.
Dunn misses away. Sherman has an interesting interleague question. Is it harder for a National League hitter to adapt to American League pitching or vice versa?
I don't think there's that much difference anymore with trades, free agents, and players crossing over to both leagues. I think the adjustment comes, and it would be for the Twins here, just to play 2 games in a new ballpark and really not have a whole lot of opportunities to learn the park, how the ball plays. So I think that's an adjustment if you're visiting here just for 2 games.
Hit hard. Dietrich, quick release. Morrison dropped it. Romo was trying to find the bag with his feet and catch the ball with his hands, and the 2 didn't connect.
You hear how an infielder can get handcuffed with a ball hit. I think Lomo gets handcuffed with this throw. And Mauer may have gotten a little bit in the way, too, but it was a combination of everything. A good throw, a hard throw, Lomo trying to find the bag, and then Mauer coming in as well. But a double play was there. If he catches the ball, it's a double play.
Arcia. It was 1 for 3. Broken bat and a base hit into right field. Mauer's on his way to third, and the drop by Morrison becomes a little more painful for the Fish. The Twins inning continues.
I mean, the bat completely shattered. He just has a little bit of the handle in his hand. The dangerous weapon, both ends. Well, if you're Logan Morrison, you see that big end of the bat flying over your head. And because of that base hit with a right-hander due up, Mike Redmond's making the move now to the bullpen.
Dunn exits. We're back after this. If you'd like to hop in on our social media Tuesday, emails, go to the Marlins page, foxsportsflorida.com, jump through that hoop, go to the next hoop, click on Game Connect. Once you get to Game Connect, click on Ask the Broadcast, then type in your question. Or go to Twitter and tweet us at @FoxMarlins. Hashtag Twitter Tuesday. Here in Miami tonight, this is as brief a two-game series as you'll find. A Tuesday night start, and then tomorrow a 12:40 camp day start. And then the Twins are out of here. Chad Qualls is out of the bullpen.
Well, obviously Mike Redmond was hoping that Mike Dunn could get through the inning, but with a couple of men on base and with a right-hander due up, Qualls gets the call.
This was a Jose Fernandez start. 5 innings, 4 hits, a run, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. A.J. Ramos is in line for the win if Qualls can hold this lead. Kevin Correa, 6 innings, 2 runs. He's in line for the loss for the Twins. Plouffe. Breaking ball, pulls it wide of third. Joe Varvra, the third base coach of the Twins. Joe still moves well. Ground ball. It's going to sneak its way into right field for a base hit. Holding at second is Arcia, and Plouffe dumps one into right. The Twins are a run closer. When you think back to that line drive that Morneau hit, Dietrich threw to Morrison. Romo couldn't hold the ball. That would have been an inning-ending double play. Since then, the Twins have 2 more hits and have a run.
Boy, and you're right about this ball just sneaking through. It wasn't hit that sharply by Plouffe, but it found that hole with Lomo covering the bag at first. Nice opening between first and second, and just like that, it's a 1-run game. Chris Parmelee would be the hitter. So
Parmalee will hit for the shortstop, Florimon. Arcia at second, Plouffe at first. Parmalee pops it out of play. As Tommy pointed out, the Twins don't carry a lot of guys on their bench, just 4. Parmalee, though, has been hot. 5 hits in his last 2 games.
Yeah, they got the veteran, all-purpose guy. Jamie Carroll is on their bench. We could see him defensively next inning.
Balls misses away. There's a strike, 94 miles an hour. Qualls had some nice appearances on the road trip. He had the one appearance, though, where Paul Goldschmidt banged one off the batter's eye for a walk-off homer in Arizona.
Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt's been doing that against just about everybody.
Parmalee in the air to right center field, hit pretty well. Ozuna tracking, and a slight adjustment at the end, and he makes the catch in deep right center field. Twins get a run. It's 3-2 Miami. If you want to order food directly from your smartphone or upgrade your seats for today's game instantly from the palm of your hand, download the MLB.com at the ballpark mobile app for these features and more. And you can check in through the app to earn free tickets. Download the free MLB.com at the ballpark app today. At this ballpark tonight, the Marlins have a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 8th. Logan Morrison, Marcell Ozuna, Rob Brantley. Josh Renicky is still in there, and he misses down low. There's Jamie Carroll.
Yeah, we knew we'd have a Jamie Carroll sighting.
Swiss Army knife type player. You can plug him in all over the infield.
He was telling me before the game this kind of completes the circuit for him. He's seen all the ballparks now. All of his time in the National League, American League. By the way, I was just thinking the home run hit by Dietrich off the bullpen, off Dunsing. We talked about it earlier. The Minnesota bullpen, the best ERA in the American League.
Johnny from the Tri-Cities has an email question for you, Tommy Hutton. Morrison, a slicing line drive to center field. That's going to get over the head of Thomas, and that is vintage Morrison. That slicing liner that we saw so often in 2010 when he came up.
Boy, I tell you, that ball took off and fooled Clete Thomas. I don't think he thought this ball was going to carry the way it did. The slicing, good swing. Pitch was down, and it got over his head by a lot. One hop off the warning track.
And Johnny's email from the Tri-Cities is about Morrison. You look at this swing. Your thoughts about Bryce Harper saying it might take 3 to 5 rehab games, and then Davey Johnson saying it should only take a game or so and Harper will be ready. And Logan Morrison, and how Morrison over the course of almost 2 seasons played hurt, played with a sore knee.
Certainly affected him, visibly affected him.
Now that he is healthy and looks great, what are your thoughts on both situations? Because they're diametrically opposite. You've got Harper saying, I'm not in there until I'm 100%, and Morrison trying to gut it out for 2 years.
Yeah, so much of that is individual, and you just don't know because you don't know all the facts. But knowing and just seeing the little bit that we've seen of Bryce Harper, he appears to me a guy who wants to play. And if he tells me he needs 5 or 6 rehab games, then he probably needs 5 or 6 rehab games.
I'm with you. I think Harper plays the game hard, plays the game just as hard as Morrison does. And Morrison, to his credit, tried to play through it and tried to help his team. And I think one of the points that Johnny makes in the email is certainly valid, is now that he has his legs under him, he looks like a much better hitter than we've seen the last year and a half. Ozuna, a big RBI single in the 6th. He drives it into left center field. That ball is into the gap. It goes to the scoreboard. Morrison will trot home, and Ozuna with an RBI double. And the late inning heroics of Marcell Ozuna continue.
When the Marlins were in Minnesota, the Twins didn't see Logan Morrison. They didn't see Marcell Ozuna. So they're seeing a different ball club, and Ozuna is just raking right now.
We've had many emails tonight about a nickname for Ozuna, and probably the best that has crossed has been the great and powerful Oz. And he has been that, certainly in the last week, with those 2 big hits in San Francisco, late in ball games, and then the home run in the 9th inning in San Francisco on Sunday. And he's had 2 big hits here. The RBI single, they gave the Marlins their start in the 6th to get them on the board. And now here an RBI double in the 8th. Pitching change for the Twins. 4-2 Miami. Ozuna hit.
Well, I really want you to watch his hands and how he brings them in. Watching in this area, watch how he brings them in to get to that pitch that was on the inner part of the plate. That's adjusting.
So Ozuna with an RBI double, 16 doubles for Ozuna. 2 more RBIs tonight. 25 on the season. And the left-hander, Caleb Thielbar, into the ball game for the Twins.
Now they have another chance to add on. Add it on with the Ozuna double.
As we pointed out throughout the night, the Twins bullpen is very good. Best ERA in the American League. And the Marlins have a couple of runs against that bullpen. Thielbar is a Minnesota native. Born in Northfield, lives in Randolph. High pop. Maurer right on the on-deck circle of the Marlins makes the catch. And there's one out. Brantley retired. Thielbar out of South Dakota State.
Now, Rob Brantley here, I know the Marlins have a lead, but that's a pitch you can roll over on and hit to second base. He didn't show that he was thinking that. It's 4-2. Make it 5-2. Get the runner over to third. Add on.
He was coming out of his shoes.
He came out of his shoes. He had a pitch that was up. Looked like he could roll over, hit a ground ball to second.
Echeverria drawing an intentional walk. Now here's the interesting rub here is that Thielbar, the lefty, is walking Echeverria to get to the lefty Dietrich. And Dietrich homered off of Brian Dunsing, who came in the 7th. Dunsing left-handed, and Dietrich, of his 7 homers, 4 have been against lefties. How many baseball players do you know out of South Dakota State? And do you know the mascot of South Dakota State?
Well, not a whole lot of players out of South Dakota, period.
I didn't know they had a baseball team.
Did not.
Because it's the weather up there is not conducive to that. They are the Jackrabbits.
It's the interesting splits on Dietrich. That tells me he hangs in there well on lefties and needs to take that same approach against righties.
AT&T U-verse rewind. There's the 8B and the breaking ball that Dunsing left over the plate for Dietrich, his 7th of the season. Dietrich with a big swing and a miss.
I love to see the 2 young guys like that celebrating in the dugout. That's a great shot.
John has a Chris Coghlan question. Is he getting healthy? And might he be at third base if and when he comes back?
I think right now the only infield spot we could see Coghlan at is first base.
We've also had some Colin Moran questions. Want to know how close is he to the big leagues? I mean, it's really hard to project a guy, a position player in college, right into the big leagues. The last position player to go straight from college to the big leagues, a guy that I saw play a lot, was John Olerud. It was a swing and a miss.
You saw him play a lot. I saw him play a lot.
I saw him play in college.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it was Pat Gillick who scouted him when Gillick was the GM in Toronto. Ron Gardenhire looks like he may be coming out to the mound. Presley is ready. And they scouted Olerud an entire summer. I'm not sure if it was the Alaska Summer League, or one of the really good summer leagues. And the Toronto scout never saw him swing and miss a pitch.
He's quite a pitcher, too.
Yes, he was. And quite a man. And it's
saw him on his arrival in a number of years with the Blue Jays.
I saw him have some really good years in Seattle. Polanco hitting. Marlins at first and second, 2 outs. And this all goes back to the Brantley at bat, as you touched upon, in a position to try to move a runner from second to third with nobody out.
And it's easy to say, well, Dietrich struck out, it wouldn't have counted. But you know what? You want to put yourself in that position, though.
Polanco is the third man used in this pinch hitter's role because of a short start by Jose Fernandez. Fernandez going 5 innings. (4-2) ball game. A run across. Back-to-back doubles to open the inning by Morrison and Ozuna. A strike to Polanco. Mike Redmond, the two teams that he played most of his years in the big leagues meeting here in Miami.
7 years with the Marlins, 5 years with the Twins.
Polanco pops it in a shallow right center. Thomas is there and he makes the catch. So the Marlins add 1. And into the 9th we go. Marcell Ozuna driving in another. It's 4-2. Stepped in the big leagues. Ed Lucas gets pushed over to second base. Placido Polanco now at third base. And Steve Cishek will try to bring this one home.
Yeah, he'll face a pinch hit or a switch hitter. Ryan Doumit will lead things off. Then it's back to the top of the order. So Cishek, with his work cut out for him, he'd like to get some outs before the big guys come up. But it's been a nice roll lately that the Marlins closer has been on. Last 12 appearances for Steve Cishek. His ERA has been 0.82.
So here's Domet, the former Pittsburgh Pirate, and he sends one out to left field. Pierre is there. One pitch, one out from Cishek. Coming up, Marlins Live, presented by Checkers. All the news and notes and highlights and interviews. Ozuna, a terrific night so far. Derek Dietrich, a home run against another lefty. Craig kissing baby, shaking hands. Sort of the mayor of Marlins Park, like Mayor McCheese.
Always there with a helpful hand. Photo ops.
Clete Thomas. Clete Thomas has eaten up just about everybody he's faced in terms of pitches. He's doubled, he's walked and scored, popped out, flied out.
If Steve Cishek can nail this one down, Rich, it'll be his 8th save in the month of June. It would be his 13th save overall, with 8th save in June if he can nail this one down.
Crowd thought that was a strike. And it was pitch number 4, and it was out. That one is held. Nice job by Brantley. And Thomas strikes out.
Good job. Not an easy play for a catcher to hang on to that foul tip. It changes directions. So, well done by Rob Brantley. And 2 down, 1 to go for Cishek. As his teammates call him Shrek.
Now it's Brian Dozier, and he takes a strike. This is a completely different baseball team than Marlin fans have been watching in April and in May. And Cishek is part of that. He had his struggles.
He had a few games there where he was taken out of the closer role.
0-2 pitch. Missed out. Jose Fernandez started 5 innings. A.J. Ramos is in line for the win here. And that is just out. It's a good call by Dan Bellino. Fernandez still into it. 1-2.
Well, we always love to see him back out there. He comes back out after he changes shirts. He's like a kid in high school, still rooting for his club.
I hope and I suspect that in 15 years, when he's still in the league, he still does this. Got it! Outside corner, ball game. Marlins win again. Cishek shuts the door. Dozier and Dan Bellino discuss the call. But Mike Redmond and the Fish continue a real nice turnaround. They've gone 13-9 since the 30th of May. And they beat the Twins 4-2 to open up this brief 2-game set. And some familiar heroes in this one. Marcell Ozuna for sure. Logan Morrison as well. And Derek Dietrich gets in on the act. That's right. The Fish win it. 4-2 the final.